welcome to the vlog. So I haven't done these in a while, but I wanted to do one today because I wanted to answer some questions that I've been getting about motivation and how to get motivated to do things. I actually just had lunch with a YouTuber that I think a lot of you guys know and like, named Alexis Zoll. And we talked for a while, and she's very young, she's 17. And we talked for a while about our channels and about making stuff on YouTube and moving out to LA to pursue entertainment. And I was just like super impressed with her. And I kept trying to figure out like why. I mean, other than that she's super well spoken and smart, but I was like, why was I so impressed with her? And I think it's just because she's doing things. And I know that sounds simple and stupid, but like, okay, when I was 17, I was embarrassed to be seen. All you want to do is blend into the background. You don't want anyone to notice you. You don't want to do anything that is like abnormal. So I wanted to disappear. I knew that I wanted to write. Some part of me knew I wanted to be on camera because I watched The Daily Show and like dreamed about being on it. And there's an essay out there somewhere, if someone can find it. I was in like Best New Writers of 2006 or something in high school, having written about wanting to be on The Daily Show. It's very embarrassing. It's in a book somewhere. But yeah, the idea of doing things was embarrassing because you're putting yourself out there to fail. You're making something that people can judge. If you never do anything, then no one can ever judge you, right? At 17, it would have been unfathomable for me to be making videos. I just wouldn't have had the confidence. I just wouldn't have realized that not everyone is going to be gold. And maybe some other people your age, out of jealousy, which I now realize is completely out of jealousy, will shit on you for it. But you can't hold back for those people. And so I mean, when I was 22 and I first started writing my blog that was called 100 Interviews, which was like one of the first things I did on the internet, I had friends that like were my age, made fun of me. They just made fun of me for having a blog. They were like, you have a blog that's so stupid. Like you're wasting all this time working on your blog. Like who cares? And the whole thing was the important thing was to seem too cool. Right? You had to seem aloof, you had to seem like you didn't care, sincerity was stupid, and you had to seem too cool. And some of those people are doing fine in the industry. I mean, they are working as assistants, or they're doing stuff that is sort of the mainstream way to work yourself up, which is fine. But most of them aren't doing anything. And it's the people that were a little bit embarrassing, that put themselves out there, that made videos, that made content, that wrote. Those are the people that I see that are actually like working now or doing stuff or have cultivated a fan base. I scratched myself. Or have cultivated a fan base or have actually done something. And so I lost a lot of friends when I started that blog because people thought I was embarrassing. They just thought it was embarrassing that I was trying. And trying is embarrassing because if you're trying to do something, people have a vulnerability that they can see. They can see your weakness and they're like, LOL, you're trying. And so they poke holes in it because you're leaving holes open, right? I mean, I'm showing you my face on this video. You can make fun of my face. I post, on JBU with Allison and people can flood the comments talking about how fat I am. They can just do that. And I've let them do that. But the gain that I get from doing it is so much bigger and broader and more important than the tiny people who want to shut it down. And it took me so long to realize that. And so I was really impressed with Alexis because she already knows that and she is already working hard and nothing's holding her back. And it's just like, I'm so happy for the young people today. Like I think about Amanda Stenberg and I think about Rowan Blanchard and I think about all these young people, Troye Sivan, who are just like, can just do it. And they don't care and they know they're right and they're being themselves and they speak out and it's just like, I mean, I was so closeted and so like shrunken into myself that I know it's hard to believe. So a couple more things about motivation. One is that people think that they can't do something because it's outside of their character, or it's not who they are, or people will be surprised, or people have reactions, whatever. And one thing I just want to say is that you can change at any time for any reason. That's one thing. I know it seems obvious, but it's a thing that I had to learn. You made the rules, you made who you are, and you can break it whenever. I also am working on something with a friend of mine, and it's a feature film. Well, we're writing it. And I was reading, she sent me the Duplass brothers South by Southwest keynote speech, and it's that famous quote that Mark Duplass says, you have no excuse to not make films on the weekends with your friends. And I really love that quote. It's a very YouTube quote. And then there was another part in what he was talking about where he and his brother Jay were talking about when they would pitch movies to people, and they would say, look, this movie is happening. Do you want to be a part of it? And that way you're not asking for permission to do the thing. You're just gonna do the thing, and other people can get on board or they cannot. So those were two things that I really liked, and was thinking a lot about them in terms of like having all these tools at our disposal, which to me sometimes feels very overwhelming. Like, oh my God, people shot a movie. That movie Tangerine was shot on an iPhone. Like, there's no excuse for me to be a bum. So overwhelming possibilities can be overwhelming. Like when you go to a diner and they have that huge menu, and sometimes you just want the little menu with 3 options so that you don't have to think about it. But that's not the world we live in. So you have a huge diner menu. Do something with it.